This first story was sent in by a man we'll call Mark. He worked as the night janitor in a massive 10-story office building downtown. His shift ran from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. His world was one of echoing marble lobbies, the chemical smell of cleaning products, and the hum of servers in empty IT departments. He was used to the silence, or rather he was used to the building's own sounds, the groan of pipes, the click of a thermostat, the distant rumble of the elevator. The strange thing started on the 4th floor, the finance department. Every night, around 1:30 a.m., Mark would be cleaning the cubicles when he'd hear it. A voice. It was muffled, like someone speaking softly into a phone in a closed office. He could never make out the words, just the low, steady rhythm of a one-sided conversation. He'd stop mopping, listen, and it would stop. The first few times, he figured it was a security guard on his radio, but the voice was wrong. It didn't sound like radio static. It sounded close. One night, driven by a mix of annoyance and curiosity, Mark decided to find it. The voice was coming from the last office at the end of the hall, a corner office belonging to a senior manager. The door was always locked. Mark pressed his ear to the cold wood. The voice was clearer now. A man's voice, calm, almost soothing. He was saying things like, "I understand. It will be over soon. Just a little longer." Mark's blood ran cold. It sounded like someone was comforting a scared child or something else. He used his master key. The click of the lock was deafening in the quiet hall. He pushed the door open slowly. The office was dark, lit only by the city lights through the window. It was completely empty. The chair was tucked in. The computer screen was dark. But the voice was now coming from the manager's private bathroom. The door was slightly ajar. Mark's flashlight beam cut through the darkness. The bathroom was spotless, empty. The voice had stopped the moment the light hit the tiles. He was about to leave feeling foolish when he saw it. On the polished marble sink, the faucet was dripping. Not a steady drip, but a pattern. Drip, 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 drip. It was Morse code. Mark didn't know Morse code, but the pattern felt intentional. He pulled out his phone and recorded it for a few seconds. The next day, sleep-deprived and unsettled, he found an online Morse code translator. He played the dripping sounds. The translator spit out 2 words over and over from the lonely, dark bathroom of an empty office. "Help me." Mark never worked the 4th floor alone again. He requested a partner, but the company refused. He quit a week later. He doesn't know who was speaking or what they were comforting. But he sometimes wonders if the manager in that corner office ever comes in late, working alone, and hears the soft sound of a mop cleaning the hall outside his door. And a voice whispering back. Our second story comes from a woman named Chloe. She worked the graveyard shift at a lonely truck stop off a long stretch of interstate. It was the kind of place with sticky vinyl booths, endless coffee, and customers who were just shadows passing through in the night. One regular was a trucker named Ben. He came in every Tuesday and Friday like clockwork, always at 3 a.m., always ordering the same thing, a black coffee and a slice of apple pie. He was quiet, polite, with tired eyes. One Friday, Ben looked worse than usual, pale, jittery. He barely touched his pie. "Rough route?" Chloe asked, just to be friendly. "You could say that," he muttered, staring into his coffee. "Keep seeing things, on the road, in my mirrors." He didn't elaborate. Chloe just gave him a refill and left him to his thoughts. The next Tuesday, Ben wasn't there, or the Tuesday after. Chloe figured he'd changed his route. Then, almost a month later, he stumbled in. He looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. His hands shook as he took the coffee mug. "Ben, you okay?" Chloe asked, genuinely worried. "It followed me," he whispered, his voice cracking. "I changed states, changed companies. It doesn't matter. Every night around 3 a.m., it's in the reflection, in the side mirror." "What is?" Chloe asked, leaning in. "My truck," he said, his eyes wide. "But it's not my truck. The logo's different, the cab's a different color, and the man driving it is me. But he's smiling. He's always smiling." Before Chloe could process this, Ben's CB radio, clipped to his belt, crackled to life. It wasn't a trucker's voice. It was a clear, calm, and eerily familiar voice. Ben's own voice, but twisted with a cold cheerfulness. It said, "Almost home, buddy. Saved your seat for you." Ben's face went white as a sheet. He threw a crumpled bill on the counter and ran out into the night, leaving his coffee steaming and untouched. Chloe never saw him again. But now, when she works the night shift, she avoids looking at the large window that reflects the dark dining room. She's afraid she might see herself, sitting at the counter, waiting for a coffee that never comes, with a smile she doesn't recognize. Our final story is from a former hospital security guard named David. He worked the midnight to 8 a.m. shift at a large old city hospital. His rounds included the long-term care wing on the 7th floor. It was a quiet, sad place. Most of the patients were nonverbal or lost in their own worlds. There was one patient, an elderly man in room 712 named Mr. Ellis. He never spoke, never moved. He just stared at the ceiling. David would do his routine checks, shine his flashlight into the dim room, see Mr. Ellis's still form, and move on. One night, during his 4 a.m. round, David's flashlight beam caught something. Mr. Ellis wasn't in his bed. He was standing at the window, his back to the door, looking out at the dark city. This was impossible. Mr. Ellis hadn't moved on his own in years. David radioed it in, his voice tense. "Patient out of bed in 712. Need assistance." As he waited, he kept his light on the old man. Then, very slowly, Mr. Ellis turned around. His face was still blank, but his mouth was moving. No sound came out. He was mouthing words. David, against his better judgment, tried to read his lips in the shaky beam of the flashlight. "They are not sick," Mr. Ellis mouthed, his eyes empty. "What?" David whispered. "They are waiting." The old man's lips formed. Then he raised a bony finger and pointed not at David, but past him, down the long, dark hallway. David turned. The hallway was empty. But all the doors to the other patient rooms, which were always closed at night, were now open. Just a crack. Every single one. And from within each darkened room, he could see the faint glow of a heart monitor screen, casting a green light on the ceiling. The soft, steady beep. Beep. Beep of multiple monitors filled the silent hall, not with the rhythm of life, but with a chilling, synchronized pulse. The nursing staff arrived then, bustling past a frozen David. They found Mr. Ellis back in his bed, asleep, as if nothing had happened. They said David was just tired. He quit the next week. David did some digging later, the kind you shouldn't do. He found out the long-term care wing was built on the site of the hospital's original and much feared psychiatric ward. A ward that had a reputation for patients who didn't get better. They just got quiet and waited. David now believes that Mr. Ellis wasn't talking about the other patients on the floor. He was talking about whatever has been sharing the wing with them all this time, patiently waiting for the lights to go out and the night shift to begin.